Thank you all for coming this evening. Hare Krishna. We have been waiting for this for 2 years now. It's a miracle that we're all coming together again and chanting in the courtyard under the Kartik moon and under the bakul tree in Vrindavan, chanting the holy names of the Lord. Welcome to everyone. Thank you for being here. I do not know what your situation is this year. In years past, people would come to spend the entire month of Kartik in Vrindavan. And when being here, they would understand that the month of Kartik is a very special time for people to perform bhakti, and specifically to perform bhakti in Vrindavan. It's explained that when one will come here and perform devotional service, the benefit that one will receive is thousands times more than at other times of the year. And naturally, the benefit that we're looking for is to become purified, unalloyed servants of the lotus feet of Radhesham. We have no other aspiration or no other desire. Radha Krishna Pran More Yugala Kishore Divani Maranigati Aronahi More. That the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna, that's the only goal that we aspire for, become an unalloyed servant. So being here in Vrindavan at this time of the year and performing bhakti at this time of the year can greatly help us to achieve that goal. And as we all know, I can say that when you go on Parikrama in Vrindavan, each place that you go to, it will have a specific meditation about an activity of Krishna. But the predominant meditations that we have during this Kartik Mas is the Damodar Lila and the Ras Lila of the Lord. It is called Damodar Mas. It is the month where it's celebrated how Krishna had his belly tied with a rope by his mother Jasoda. And yesterday we were reading this Leela in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And all of you know the story as well as I do, how it was Diwali day, and Jasoda was preparing different things for the Diwali celebration. Krishna was sleeping. He was just a very young boy. Krishna awoke. Immediately he went to his mother and he wanted her breast milk, which she gladly gave to her son. This chapter of the Bhagavatam, it describes a beautiful, beautiful meditation on Mother Jasoda. It describes how beautiful she was. It describes how beautifully shaped body she had, and how her sari was tied tightly around her waist, how she had many bangles on her wrists, how she had garlands of white flowers braided into her hair, how she was churning yogurt to make butter, and while she was churning the yogurt, she was remembering the pastimes of Krishna and she was singing those pastimes. And our acharyas explain that that is a favorite activity of the devotees of the Lord. They will see Krishna's activities and they will poeticize those activities, and then they will sing them. And there is no limit to it because there's no limit to Krishna's activities. And Srila Prabhupada says that that meditation which Shukadeva Goswami presents on Mother Yasoda is the perfect meditation for a person who wishes to become absorbed in Krishna, absorbed in devotional service to Krishna in the mood of motherhood. At any rate, Krishna was drinking the milk from his mother, and on her stove, the milk from the cow started to boil over. So she placed the child down. When she did that, she went to take the milk off the stove, and Krishna became very angry because he was unfulfilled in drinking his mother's milk. And at that point, he decided, I will be naughty. And he picked up a stone. He went and he broke a pot full of yogurt. He ate yogurt, and then he went away to the storage room, and he was distributing butter to the monkeys. And Yasoda came back and saw the pot broken and said, it's my son who's done this. And then she just picked up a stick and she went to Krishna. And Krishna became very fearful. And this is where many contradictions begin. Because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether he's in a child's body or whether he's in his Yovanam body. He fully possesses the potency of God. It's not that because he's small, he's something less. He's fully God. He's the creator of everything. He's the destroyer of everything. He's the maintainer of everything. But when he saw his mother coming with a stick, he started to cry out of fear. And when he was crying from fear, like all Indian mothers, they put a lot of kajal on their baby's eyes. And his eyes were full of kajal, and the tears were coming, and Krishna was like wiping the tears with his hands and smearing the kajal over his face. And Yasoda, she thought, no, I don't want to frighten my child so much. So she put the stick down. And she started to chase. He started to run. She started to chase. And finally, she caught. And she told him, she said, no, I don't want you to do any more mischief. So now I'm going to tie you with a rope to this mortar for grinding spices. And Krishna's very small. It's not that Krishna is very big. So what she did is she just reached up to her hair, and she pulled on a string that she had tying her hair at the back of her head. She pulled that string out, and she said, this will be sufficient. But it wasn't sufficient. And so then she turned to one of her girlfriends, and she said, please bring more rope. Please bring more rope. And they were bringing so much rope, and the child wasn't becoming bigger, but the rope was always 2 fingers too short. And Yasoda's girlfriends, they were observing this, and they were laughing. They were saying, how is this happening? So much rope, but the child is not becoming bigger, and the mortar is not becoming bigger, but it's always short. And Krishna was just looking at them. So this brings up another question. He's God. God has no inside. God has no outside. God has no front. God has no back. God has no left. God has no right. God is unending. He's unlimited. How can you bind up God? It's not possible. And Krishna just smiling while she's trying to do that. And he was determined, no, I'm going to be a mischief, and I'm not going to allow that to happen. But they kept making endeavors, and he kept observing, and something happened. He saw how their only focus and their only attention was upon him, and how they were devoted to him. and how they loved him. And then Krishna said, all right, I will allow them to bind me. And then he was bound. So when we were reading the Bhagavatam last night, Shukadeva Goswami and our acharyas, they said this is a quality of the Lord which is called Bhritya Dasyati. And Bhritya Dasyati means Krishna becomes subservient to the love of his devotees. Now, generally, we don't think in that way. We think that we're all meant to engage in loving God. But when one loves God with an unalloyed, spontaneous spirit, then he becomes subservient to that devotee, and he gives himself to that devotee. So that's a real meditation for all of us this month, that Krishna, he gives himself to his devotee. And we know that we're not qualified people, and we know that we're quite low people of Kali Yuga, and we need so much help to make advancement in spiritual life. But nevertheless, if we will chant Hare Krishna mantra very, very carefully, avoiding offenses, if we will hear Srimad Bhagavatam, if we will serve Vaishnavas, particularly during this blessed month of Kartik, Krishna will go out of his way to help us. And just like he, although he can't be bound, he allowed himself to be bound by his devotee. If we try to serve Krishna with love, Krishna will shower us with his love. So thank you very much for coming. We've been waiting for this, and I would like to, I guess we'll have kirtan again, say on Wednesday night. Wednesday night okay? Is Wednesday night favorable for everyone? We'll have kirtan again on Wednesday night, and if we decide to do it before then, we'll send information out in social media. And now we should stop, because Balaram Baba told me, it's already 9:06. Balaram Baba told me exactly at 9 o'clock, stop. Last night, we were reading, me and the boys, we were reading the Srimad Bhagavatam pastime. It was past 9 o'clock. We read to the point of when, after Jasoda leaves and she binds Krishna, and then Krishna goes to Nalakuvera and Manigriva and who they are. And because Nalakuvera and Manigriva, they had been pious people, they had the opportunity to see Narada Muni, correct? So just when we were reading, and it was already past 9 o'clock, my phone rang, and it was Balaram Baba. And he said, Maharaj, you come my room, take moong dal chilla, and take aloo tikki, Maharaj. And so we considered that because we had performed bhakti in terms of hearing the pastimes of Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we had performed some pious activity, and we had the opportunity to go and see a saint and be fed. And then I turned to him last night and I said, so Maharaj, when cold weather is coming, when are we going to begin moong dal halwa and imarti? And he said, tomorrow. So now Balaram Baba and his team, they have cooked wonderful prasadam. I'd like to request everybody to please jump up, pick up something, fold it up, and then we will again sit down to take prasadam. Thank you all very, very much for coming tonight. Please keep your ears posted in case we decide to have kirtan earlier than Wednesday, okay? Hare Krishna.